Welcome into the Pigskin Pricks. I'm Evan. I'm here with John and Joe. First off, Joe, what beer are you drinking?
Man, I'm having a good old PBR, but it is a tall boy.
Oh boy.
I
Oh
know, right?
boy.
You gotta
It's
let
a
you.
tall
Hey,
boy.
listen, Pabst Blue Ribbon, you can't go wrong with it. She's been around for years, and there's a reason for that.
He's already broken the seal. He'll probably need to get up and take a piss.
I'm not mad about it.
He'll
It's
need to
right
get up.
over there.
Well, guys, I wanted to start with good old Tommy boy, Tom Brady, heading to the Bucks. John, let me hear your take. What do you think of the move?
I understand why a team would want Tom Brady. What I don't understand is what they really expect out of picking him up. Do they expect to win a Super Bowl with him? I don't think
What
so.
do you think they?
I don't think so.
Are you shitting me?
Yeah.
He's got 6 rings, John. They expect a ring.
Oh no, they want a ring.
Well,
What
will
do
they
they
win it?
actually expect? I mean,
Frankly,
he didn't
for
win
what
a-
they just paid him, I think they expect a ring.
He didn't win a ring last year. He's going to struggle to win a ring this next year. Especially, I mean, it's an okay team.
They got a good offense, though. They got some
Yeah,
good receivers. They got decent tight ends as well. They got overall their offense is very good.
So I was
Although-
thinking about this. I'm not trying to interrupt you, but I was thinking about this, knowing that we would talk about this at some point. In any quarterback that had an established career at some team and then moved in later life to another team, how many of them went on to win a Super Bowl? I can think of one.
Well, Montana went to the AFC Championship game.
No, win a Super Bowl.
Win a Super Bowl. Peyton Manning.
Yes, that's the only one I can think of. And there's a lot of great quarterbacks that moved to another team, like Joe Montana, right?
But we're not talking about the greatest of all time. We're not. They're not the greatest of all time.
No, that's not what I said. I said,
oh, please, you're not going to
established-
tell us that he's the greatest of all time.
They
are
did
you?
well
Tom
in their
Brady.
career. They did well in their
No.
career. They're established. Then they moved to another team. And maybe we should say that either won a Super Bowl or at least played in a Super Bowl, then moved. That would even narrow it down. But still, I think your answer is there's maybe one or two guys. I don't even know who else. We'd have to Google it probably. I know
John-
Peyton Manning.
John, this is a point that I want to make on that, and I'll address that. First of all, we've been Chiefs fans for a very, very long time, right? And when Montana came to Kansas City, he took the Kansas City Chiefs to the AFC Championship game with nobody. Tom Brady's not going into Tampa Bay. I mean, no, don't get me wrong. Kansas City had a hell of a defense, but they didn't have Dick on offense. They had Willie Davis. That was their star wide receiver. No, you couldn't ask anybody who knows anything about football. They couldn't tell you who Willie Davis even was. My point is that Brady's going into an offense run by one of the greatest offensive minds in Bruce Arians, and he's got Godwin and Evans as his wide receivers. He's got Howard and Crate as his tight ends, right? Look what he did in New England this last year, and he didn't have very many weapons. You know, Edelman was hurt. He lost Gronk. That killed them. And he still took them to the playoffs. I think if anybody has a shot, it's Brady. I mean, when Manning went to Denver, he walked in there. They did have weapons. They had a stellar defense. Man, I'll tell you what, if anybody's got a shot at it, I think it's Brady, and that kills me to say, because as a Kansas City fan, he's been a pain in my ass for years.
I didn't say they didn't have a shot, but I don't think it's legit. Back to what I'm saying is I don't think they're going to win a Super Bowl. I'll put it right now. I'll bet against any one of you guys they're not going to win a Super Bowl. I'm going to even say they're not going to make it to the Super Bowl this year. This year, they're not going to make it. I'm not going to say they aren't going to make the playoffs. Brady's good at getting in the playoffs. I'm saying they're not. So let's just assume for a sec. Just play with me for a second. Let's just assume if you were the team, the owner, the management, whatever, and you're looking at Brady and you're going, our chances to win a Super Bowl are better with him, but still slim. Why would you pick him up? Because he's going to cost us some money. I'm going to take away an opportunity to develop a younger guy. Unless my goal might be I'm picking up this guy to mentor a younger guy to replace him. And that makes sense, but that's not a win a Super Bowl reason, right? I think there might be reasons that aren't win a Super Bowl reasons that might make sense. You might just say, I want to get more people into our team, coming to the game, buying our shit, thinking about it. So when Brady moves on, they're still into the team. But are we really going to win a Super Bowl with this guy? Do you really think that's what they think?
You know the NFL is built around money. So
That's what
absolutely,
I'm trying to say. Yes.
you know that he's going to put
Tom Brady
asses in the
sells.
seats.
He
That's
definitely
exactly
sells.
right.
Right.
I mean,
I'm not arguing that. That's what my point is. But do we really think he's going to win a Super Bowl for him?
I think he's got a shot. I'd
Would you
almost
put money on it?
I would put money that they're definitely going to win the South.
I don't even think that's a guarantee.
For
you have the Saints.
I think you're nuts, and you're from New England.
Okay, now
That's
for a
not even a
second,
guarantee.
Evan, why do you think that?
Well, look at the Saints. They were arguably the best team in the NFL last year, and they just couldn't get it done in the playoffs in the fourth quarter. They had a couple.
And talk about a quarterback that of anybody that has similar type of credentials as Brady from records, ability, just doesn't have the same number of Super Bowl wins. But
you put
he's got
Drew Brees
been
on
with
the
a coach,
Patriots,
right? He's been with the same coach for a long time on the same team. He's definitely proven himself as a great quarterback.
I would say the Saints should be favorites to win the NFC South. That doesn't mean they're going to. I think at least the Buccaneers will make it.
Okay.
As a
what makes the Saints a better team outside of quarterback? So
I think
take away quarterback versus quarterback. Why would the Saints be better than?
I think the Saints' defense is suspect, and I think that the Bucs have a better defense. And I think Brady will play as well, if not better than Breeze.
I don't think he will.
Well,
I agree with you. Years.
He didn't look that great this year. Yeah, really. Who's got a better running game?
I would say New Orleans because they have Kamara.
Yeah. Who's got better receivers?
Receivers probably Tampa Bay because they do have.
But by much? Do we think it's that much?
No, not by much.
Right. Yeah.
Tight ends, maybe. I would say.
So it might come down to D.
Tampa Bay for sure.
Might come down to D. What happens?
The defense, and that's what I'm saying.
And or the draft. If somebody picks up a stud that can play this year,
we can't even say. There's been so many times where defenses get completely turned around because of someone you pick up in the draft. Like who are they going to pick in the first round? They may pick some stud linebacker who completely turns around becomes.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I guess it's hard to say without knowing what the final roster looks like.
Right.
Don't get me
that's
wrong.
why we're talking about it now. It's fun to predict it now.
I don't want Tampa Bay to win the South. I just think they will.
I'm glad you stood up and said that. That's what I wanted to. I'm not going to jump on the same bandwagon.
How many wins?
I said they're going to make the playoffs. That's what I said.
You know what?
How much wins? I think
they'll win it 11-5.
I think if they want to win the South, they need 12 wins.
Wow.
Either New Orleans or Tampa Bay will have to get 12
wins. I just think there's too much parity in that division, and they're going to beat the shit out of each other.
What about Carolina? How do you think about Carolina? Teddy Bridgewater. That's a 7 or 8 win team.
You know what, though?
Is he starting? Do we know if he's going to start?
He's going to start.
Okay.
Because what's the hell was that guy's name? Their other guy.
Kyle Allen.
Kyle Allen. He didn't have a terrible year.
Yeah, but the last 2 or 3 games, he really.
Yeah, well, their team was so fucking bad.
They used that.
They were bad. But I will say this.
He still looks better than Cam Newton.
I want you to look at coaches that come in from the college ranks, right? And I want you to look at how well they've done in the past few years. Okay. They haven't had a whole lot of success because I don't believe that coaching translates well into the NFL.
So stop for a second. What does this have to do with Tom Brady?
Some coaches have done it.
I think I asked him about Carolina.
He asked me about Carolina.
But we're talking about Brady.
Well, yeah, but he asked me about Carolina.
That's fine. Keep going. Sorry to interrupt you.
All right, give me a quick answer on Carolina.
So Rule, right, is coming in, and I just think he's going to struggle. I think he's going to struggle because he comes from the college ranks, and I think he doesn't have a whole lot to work with. Now, it depends on how the draft goes. And I'm not saying he can't coach, but I think he's going to struggle this season. And so if you take them out of it, I think it's really a 2-man race between the Saints and the Bucs, and I think the Bucs win it.
So because we did it with Brady, and I really want to talk about it more, but I'm just going to jump to one other quarterback because we're talking to Carolina.
Sure.
Why did Carolina pick up Teddy Bridgewater? What is their expectation with Teddy?
I don't think they expect to make the playoffs this year necessarily. but I think they're building up that team with him projected. They saw him twice a year. Obviously, he wasn't the starter in New
half
Orleans.
the time he didn't play.
Right. But I mean, he's clearly, in my eyes, a starting caliber quarterback.
Right. He just hadn't had a good career so far.
Right.
Injury, not necessarily that he's not a good player, but he's got injury or he was behind great quarterbacks. But that's all I was asking is, did you think that Carolina really is going to put him in the starting job as we're going to sit with this guy for a number of years
I don't think he doesn't seem like the quarterback to elevate you to a championship level like Brady takes the Bucs.
No, but
he improves that team. He's better than Kyle Allen. He's better than Cam Newton.
Well, but if you're got a new coach, your team's kind of shitty. Aren't you rebuilding? Why worry about spending money on that guy? Again, the same kind of question.
I mean, he's still young.
Why spend the money younger? I'll have to look him up to see his age. He's not super young anymore, but he's younger than a lot of guys. He's not younger than Kyle Allen, right?
John, they spend the money because the owner in Carolina watched him kick ass in Minnesota.
Okay.
That's why they spent the money.
He looked even better in Saints. As far as I'm concerned, he looked better playing.
He looked better in New Orleans, yeah.
Well, and that's fine. He could look great in both. So what they're thinking is this guy can come in and win a couple years. You know, if he can win in New Orleans, if he can win in Minnesota.
We need players or people in the stands because last year was tough.
You know what? Maybe the beer sales are down. I don't know. You know, it's humanly possible. I just think they watch this guy play. The guy can play.
I think he's a great backup. That's what I like about him. I think he's that's like a backup you can count on.
Right, but he's not a backup to Kyle Allen.
I know. That's why I'm like, why did they pick him up? I would have stuck with Kyle Allen because he's young. He showed some potential. I'm not spending near the money I got to pay for fucking Teddy Bridgewater.
Well, this is why you're on the horn and you're not a coach, because anybody who makes that decision really just needs to be fired.
No, I got you.
Which is why Rule has a job.
Absolutely.
Okay, so did we get enough of your Tom Brady? I want to hear more from you, Evan, on Tom Brady. What do you think? Tell me, sit back for a minute or even two and just tell us what went through your mind over the last 2 weeks or so with Tom Brady.
I mean, known it was coming.
Because you're a fan. Sorry.
I'm a big fan.
Because you're a big fan and we're not.
So, and you have to think, Tom Brady, in my whole life, I'm young enough to where he is the only starting quarterback I ever even remember as the Patriots quarterback. Like, I mean, I was technically alive during Bledsoe and but too young. Don't remember that. So Tom Brady is the only quarterback I've known. So obviously it's very heartbreaking. He's like a boyhood idol, but I've known it was coming. I kind of had suspicions that he was leaving. I didn't think it was going to be the Tampa Bay.
So are you bitter?
No.
Okay.
I think he's earned the right to do as he pleases.
Okay.
But I think it's a good test for him, a good test for Belichick. I think they kind of both wanted their own separate legacies, you could say, because they're attached at the hip. In New England, you can say greatest coach of all time, greatest quarterback of all time, but somebody can always just say, oh, well, you had Belichick, or, oh, well, you had Brady as your quarterback. So I think they both wanted an opportunity to kind of do their own thing. And, I'm not surprised. All great quarterbacks end their careers somewhere else. So once he was hitting free agency, I thought it was going to be the Chargers, to be honest with you, because he opened up a production company in Hollywood. So I was like, oh, that's a sign he's going west. He's going to L.A.,
I can't tell you how happy I am that he did not go to the Chargers because the Chiefs don't want to play him twice a year.
Right, I'm sure.
I was really glad to see him go over to the other conference.
So and as a Patriots fan, I was too. Which is not that I'm interested.
Right, because you didn't want him going to the Dolphins.
So are you a bigger fan of the Patriots or of Tom Brady? Bigger
fan of the Patriots.
Okay.
I mean, I would have never had to even think about that question until a couple days ago, but my allegiance is still with the Patriots. I wish Tom Brady well, but if it's the Patriots versus Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, I hope they take him down.
Okay. So what about, because I want to keep asking the question about Patriots or what if Bill Belichick left? Would it be the Patriots or wherever Bill Belichick went?
It would be the Patriots. Patriots are my team.
There you go.
It's not. There's no questions about that. You could.
There you go. That's a true fan.
If you had to pick another team that you kind of cheer for, which team would it be?
Like a second team?
Like a second team.
You know, I had a second team.
Oh shit! Here it comes.
It was the Giants.
Okay, cool.
Because my grandma loves the Giants.
Okay.
But then they kicked the Patriots' ass in 2 Super Bowls. And it was no longer.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say because they beat the Patriots 2 times in the Super Bowl.
Listen, Grant,
so I had to respect them at that point.
It's done. There's no more. No more allegiance.
That was 2 of the best days of Joe and I's lives. The very first time we were at Joe's house watching the Super Bowl, and we fucking jumped up, we're slapping hands.
Yes.
Fucking Eli threw that pass caught on his head while he's getting drugged down. That was so great.
You should have seen the look on my father's face in that one.
I might have been on the phone with him. I could hear him yelling from New England.
That was
it
so
was
great.
It was beautiful.
All right. All right. Do you think we should move on, or is there anything else on this topipic?
Oh, I think we should move on. Let's go to the next.
All right. Who's next?
So, Joe, I hear you want to talk about we have another quarterback on the mend, Mr. Mahomes, Mr. Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah.
What are you going to say about Mr. Mahomes? How's he doing over there?
I'll tell you what, man. John and I, we've been Chiefs fans for a long time, right? And so, the word around Kansas City is that Brett Veach, he's the general manager of the Kansas City Chiefs. He's yet to give in Mahomes a contract. And if you're a football fan or you know anything about football, it's going to be in the $200 million range. He'll make him the highest paid player in the NFL, probably $100 million guaranteed. My question is this: why hasn't he got the contract yet? All right. He started for the Kansas City Chiefs for 2 years. The first year, he takes us to the AFC Championship game. Okay. Last year, he wins us the Super Bowl. Either pay him give him the money, give him the contract, or, and this kills me to say because I am a diehard fan, is it really worth paying one man that much money, no matter how good they are?
You're saying get rid of Patrick Mahomes.
I'm not saying get rid of Patrick Mahomes. What I'm saying is
that a hot take?
Football is bigger than one man. It's a team sport. And if he takes up all your salary cap space and you can't afford to sign a Chris Jones or you can't afford to sign a Tyrann Mathieu, then there's a problem because Mahomes doesn't win the Super Bowl without those guys.
But do you make the Super Bowl without Mahomes?
You absolutely don't. But can another quarterback out there make the Super Bowl?
Has another quarterback in Chiefs history done it? No.
Len Dawson.
Okay.
There you go. Lenny Dawson did it in 1970 against Minnesota. So, listen, it can be done. Do I want Mahomes to go anywhere? No. As a Chiefs fan, I'd be crazy to say that. My point, though, is you got $20 million in cap space. We've done nothing during free agency other than watch Kendall Fuller walk out the door. And as you know, Evan, I really want your take on this because as a Patriots fan, you can't keep everybody after you win the game. You just can't. How many Patriots have you watched walk out the door?
There's been plenty this offseason. Plenty this offseason, every offseason.
You know what I'm saying?
Leaving. Yeah.
And so we would be silly to think that we can keep the team together. I guess my point that I'm trying to make on this with Mahomes is we threw the tag on Chris Jones. Now, Chris Jones is a guy that in the Super Bowl, he doesn't knock down that pass, game's over. Mm-hmm. I mean, this guy was a beast in this game, getting held on every play, and he still makes it to the quarterback. This guy is an absolute beast. And I believe that to be a successful football team, you have to have that stud, not only on offense, but you have to have one on defense too. And I think the Chiefs have it. They have Mahomes and they have Chris Jones. The problem I have is by putting the tag on Jones, now he's upset because he thinks he deserves a long-term contract. And frankly, at 25 years old, he does deserve a long-term contract. Pay this guy his money. The problem is, can they pay Jones and can they pay Mahomes?
Well, they can this year because they don't have to pay Jones any extra.
What's that?
Jones isn't a big contract now because they tagged him.
No, I understand that, John, but now he's pissed. So and typically in the NFL, when you tag somebody and they're mad, they have a fucking horrible season the next year.
Do you think he's going to hold out?
That's humanly possible. Yes, I honestly do think that could happen.
Yeah, and so I wonder. So when we talk about money and contracts with players,
yep,
I always think about. I mean, everybody deserves to get paid what they're worth, right? But there are limits on what a team can spend.
That's correct.
And so there has to be some level of I want to win. I believe in a place that's doing their best for me, but it got a bunch of other guys that are important to the team, and I want to keep seeing us win. And so, first off, when you talked about Mahomes, I'm thinking this isn't a guy that's all about money. I've never seen anything that he's done make me think it's all about the money. He does want to get respected with a paycheck, but I think he wants to keep winning Super Bowls. So I think he's going to take less than he would have to keep a good team around him to win more Super Bowls.
But John, if that was the case, why? Yeah, I do too. Because if that was the case, why haven't they signed a contract? I think that he is demanding, not out in the open, like he wouldn't say it because he is Chiefs Kingdom. If he comes out saying that, he loses the respect of Chiefs fans. So he wants to keep that quiet. But you can't tell me that him and his agent aren't trying to stick it to the Kansas City Chiefs because I can guarantee you they are.
He's the number one quarterback in the NFL. I would say the whole NFL. Right. And so he wants to be, I mean, how old is he? 25, 26? He's
not
young.
Even. I think he's 24.
He's young. He deserves, if there's anybody, you hear all the time about all these quarterbacks getting record-breaking deals. Yeah. Out of any of them who actually deserve it, it's Mahomes. You could argue like Russell Wilson maybe deserved it at the time, but, all these other people quarterbacks who get him.
You know what? But Russell Wilson was paid.
Yes, and he was.
He was the highest paid player there for a while.
Well, he right now. Well, you're right. Actually, he lost out at the moment, but he's pretty close, right? So Russell Wilson's at 140,000.
140 million.
140 million. Sorry, I can't read. Yeah. I'm looking at it, and it looks like that Matt Ryan actually got a 150 million deal.
And is Matt Ryan deserving of even close to that? No.
Right. So that's pretty close. There's per year. Russell Wilson's actually going to make more this year. He's going to make 35 mil.
Right.
Matt's going to make 30. So he may never ever make the 150. So, but I'm like, as you talk about Mahomes, you said 200 mil, and I'm thinking, nah, I don't see that happening.
He's going to hit.
I see that he can make the 130, 140, 150 range and accept it. Then that would be really, really high paid. That would be a nice paycheck.
He's going to be in the 200 range, John.
I think he wants 35 to 40 million
a year.
Well, but that's not unreasonable. So the top, because this happened to be a topic I was interested in. The top 8 guys, top 8 guys make 30 mil or more this coming year.
Right.
So, and
he wants to be at 40, John. Yeah. That's what we're saying. Like he wants to be 10 above that. And the thing is, does he deserve it? His agent is going into Veach and saying, he just won you a Super Bowl.
He has all the leverage.
Deny me. Yeah, he 100%. Now, I believe, and please correct me if I'm wrong here, I don't believe that they actually have to pay him until next offseason. No, there's one more year on his contract, on his rookie deal.
There is.
So I'll be curious. Do they try to wait?
He's not showing up as a free agent, right? So that is interesting. That might be why there's no discussion.
Right. And so I think they're waiting to sign him? It's possible. My thing is this. Look, you're going to give him the contract. Just give him the contract and move on from it because now you know what you can do with your other players.
I agree. See, I definitely agree with you.
I think they're working the other direction. I don't disagree with you, but I think they're working we got to figure out who we're going to sign, what we're going to sign, and then we know what we got left to work with.
See,
and that's why they're taking their time because they can kind of force the issue of taking time with Mahomes and some of these other guys. They got to figure it out now.
Right. Well, I like what you brought up, Joe, about is it like with a huge money contract for a quarterback, is it bring sustained success? Because with the Patriots, for example, Tom Brady always took a pay cut.
Right.
Like they would tweak his deal almost every year, especially the last couple seasons, so that they gave him all this guaranteed money up front. But then his cap hit was something stupid low, like in the bottom third of all quarterbacks. So they were able to build the rest of the team, and you kind of saw them being able to spend money on a bunch of other different positions and every year field a great team. I mean, you see so often like quarterbacks get paid, then the rest of the team kind of falls apart.
You're right. That's exactly right, Evan. And you know what? That could be what Veach is doing. Maybe he's looking at ways into how do I front load this contract with guaranteed money so that we don't take as big of a cap hit. You know, because I know they want to keep Chris Jones. The guy's a beast. All right. But now I think he's upset. And yes, you bring holding out. Yeah, I think he'll hold out. Yeah, I think he's upset. Like there's been some Twitter stuff going on. You know, it's been nice in Kansas City, and I'm like, he's like, I did what I could. I can't even remember what the Twitters were, but.
Joe, your sound is turned
off. I thought it was me. Yeah. Hey, dude, check your
sound turned off.
We can't hear you, dude. Can you hear us? Pull your plug on, plug it back in.
Yeah, I think his thing came unplugged.
Or it just wiggled or something.
There we go.
He unplugged it.
It was unplugged.
He got excited. He's like,
"Good job!"
I thought you muted me. I'm like, seriously, already? Like, man, I got muted this early in the conversation.
I should have muted you. I was actually getting tired of hearing about Chris Jones. But
there you go. I muted myself. I was so sick of hearing about Chris Jones.
Yeah, you should be. I thought we were talking about Mahomes, but no, it all matters. So I get it. So what were you saying that? Can you summarize what you said for the last 5 minutes in about 30 seconds and only tell us the important parts?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it wasn't 5 minutes, but my thing is this: Chris Jones, they tagged him. I think now he's disgruntled. I think he's going to hold out if they don't get a deal done before training camp comes. Mahomes, yeah, I think he's worth the money. I just wish Veach would pay him. And again, maybe he's up to something. Maybe he's trying to figure out how he can front load it. Like I said. I don't know. Like I said, he doesn't have to pay him this year. Maybe they're gonna make him wait. I'm not sure that that's a great idea. I think he's earned the money. Pay the guy. It's as simple as that.
Fair enough. I like that.
Okay, so let's do another prediction like we did before.
Yeah.
For a couple. First off, are they going to the Super Bowl this year?
Chiefs?
The Kansas City Chiefs?
Yep.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
No.
Shame on you.
They're not repeating.
No way.
They're not making it back. I don't think I could give you a team in place of them, but I don't see them making it back.
Okay.
Maybe Baltimore.
Oh, for fuck's sake. If I have to hear the name Baltimore or Jackson in another set, I'm going to just puke.
So, Joe, make a pick. Are they making it to the Super Bowl? I think you said yes. Are they winning it? Are they winning it?
Dude, I'm a homer. So yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you?
So I feel pretty strong. I think if they can keep the key components of the team together, I think they have the ability. So I'm going to go, yes, they can go and they can win it again. I really believe that after what they did last year. They're definitely making the playoffs. They're definitely winning the division. They're getting to the Super Bowl, and I can't think of a better team to win it.
Really? You think they're going to win the division now that the Broncos got Melvin Gordon?
What about Tyrod Taylor starting over?
Oh, no, don't get me started on Tyrod. Whoa. That's big time, baby.
Right. Okay, so the next step is I want to ask two-part question. Do they make a deal with Mahomes this year? And if so, what are you saying his contract value is going to be?
6 years. $40 million a year.
It's $240 million.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. I'm in the same boat with you. But I think it's a 7-year deal. I was going to go another year, so it lowers it a little bit, but same.
So 240, 250.
Yeah, a little lower, probably 230ish. He's going to be over 200 million, and he's going to have 100 million guaranteed.
Okay, I'm gonna be the other guy. I'm gonna say they're not gonna make a new deal with him this year.
Okay.
Well, here's the thing: if they wait and they do win another Super Bowl, you're gonna have to pay him even more.
That's correct.
Yep.
So you might.
That's correct.
Just do it now.
Yes, in theory, Evan, but they would have to renegotiate with him anyway. So let's say he signs a deal. His agent's going to come back and be like, hey, we just won another Super Bowl. We need to renegotiate.
They're not going to renegotiate after 1 year.
It's been done how many times in the NFL? You've seen it done.
On a 6 or 7 year deal, though. Huh?
So we got our picks.
Okay.
What did I say? Oh, I did. Yeah, I did answer. I said they're not going to come up with a new deal this year.
That's correct.
Cool. Hey, we got to write. Oh, it's on. We got it recorded. I don't need to write it down.
We don't need to write anything down. That's all.
That's the point.
Are you kidding me?
So can I go ahead and just transition into this topic, but a little deeper? So
give me what you got.
What I want to talk about is, because I happen to live in the state, I would rather talk about the Chiefs, but Joe is passionate about that. I also looked at Minnesota, which is where I was born. Things didn't just excite me as much there. So I'm picking the Titans because I'm here. And I'm going to go ahead and start with one of the things that got me excited, not in a good way, but like, this is fucking stupid, but it's in the line that we've been talking about, which is quarterback. So Ryan Tannehill. So 118 mil, right? So definitely Mahomes is worth more than that. 118 mil. He's going to make 29.5 this year, which is number 9. So he's going to come in as the 9th highest paid quarterback with this deal, right? So as we talked, I'm kind of a numbers guy. I did a bunch of numbers. This is just one of the many things. So just let's talk about some guys that make less than him real quick. Jacoby Brissett, who cares? He's the next one down. Jimmy Garoppolo. That one you're going to go, what? His contract's bigger, but not next year. He's going to make a couple of mil less. Matt Stafford, same concept. Contract's bigger, less money. Derek Carr. Drew Brees. So Drew Brees got 50 mil for the next 2 years. I mean, Ryan's deal's longer. It's to 2024, right? So he's got a longer deal. Brees has only got to 2022. So there's some things going on. Tom Brady, obviously, lesser deal, 50 mil. So he's making what Brees is making. Who's making more? Of course, Matt Ryan was right above him. Bigger overall deal, but 30 mil. And then you got Dak and Carson and Kirk Cousins, which is the thing I would have talked about with the Vikings, but that wasn't today's deal. I don't care. Jared Goff, Aaron Rodgers, and Ben, and then Russell. So I look at some of the names. I'm like, there's definitely way better players where I see Mahomes would be. And I think Ryan Tannehill should be a lot lower than he is. And so before I let you guys talk, I'm going to give you some numbers real quick just to kind of support what I'm saying. So Ryan's stats for last year: 22 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 2,742 yards. He had a 117.5 QB rate. Pretty good numbers, right? Nothing too bad. And the stats I'm going to next quarter were his position as far as other quarterbacks. Some of them are based on his stats because he didn't play the full year, right? So he was number 28 ranking of quarterbacks during the regular season last year, but he was number 7 in the postseason. And I look at that and I go, number 7 is not that great. I mean, there's not that many teams in the postseason, but he was above by 1 slot Lamar Jackson. So you got to give him that, right? But there we are. So just to put it in perspective from a regular season, Marcus Mariota, who they let go, had 1,200 yards, 7 touchdowns, 2 interceptions last year. Not bad. His QB rating was 92.3. He was number 35, so only 7 slots down from Tannehill last year during the regular season. I'm like, that's crazy. I mean, he was, 28th. Maybe he would have came in what, somewhere in the, if you'd gave him better numbers, somewhere in the low 20s or high teens. He went number 7 in just the postseason, but he's getting the number 9 best paid next year. That just doesn't seem in line to me. It seems crazy.
I've had the pleasure.
Well, it is crazy.
Yeah, had the pleasure of watching Tannehill as a Miami Dolphin for many years, and I will say, I actually like Tannehill. He's not a bad quarterback.
A&M, right? Didn't he come from A&M?
Didn't he come from A&M?
What are you talking about?
You didn't let me finish.
Let him finish.
He's not bad.
I don't disagree with you.
He will not. Here's the thing. He doesn't turn the ball over a lot, as you saw with the statistics, as you pointed out. He's not somebody who's going at the same time to go out there and throw for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns, and put up crazy stats. So he's really a game manager. So are you going to pay $120 million for a game manager.
We're really familiar in Kansas City with game managers. His name was Alex Smith.
Yes, exactly.
We love the guy, but he'll never win a Super Bowl because
not on his own. Right? Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl, and he was a game manager.
Yes, but he had the best defense maybe ever in a running in the history of NFL.
Right, and so if you look at Tannehill, by the way, just to throw it out there, last year Derrick Henry was both number one in the regular season and postseason of running backs. So Tannehill should have looked pretty fucking good when you have the best running back in the league. Yeah. Right, and a good defense, rather good defense.
And when they came to Kansas City and Derrick Henry got shut down, what happened to Mr. Tannehill?
Now, how many interceptions did he throw in the Super Bowl?
Game.
For not turning over the ball much. How many interceptions in the Super Bowl? 2 or 3? 3, I think. Was it 2 or 3?
I think it was
3.
Might have been 3.
I don't know. It was 2 or 3. It was a lot. Looking at his yearly numbers, let's go back to it. He had all of 6 interceptions in 16 games. So that's right, not even one a game. And in the Super Bowl, he had at least 2, and he might have had 3. We'll fact check it, but who cares? It's more than his average. So clearly, if you could shut down the run, he's not that great a quarterback. That's what really got me when I saw this. I'm like, they're fucking stupid. What's his other problem? What also happened to him in Miami? He got injured.
He was hurt.
Right? He got injured multiple times. He
rode the bench more than he played the
What's wrong with Mariota? Is Mariota that bad of a quarterback?
Yes, he sucks. He's horrible.
Okay, that's fine. What's his other problem?
Jesus, make your
What's
point,
his other problem?
I mean, go right to it.
He gets hurt every fucking season, and you can't count on him?
What, Mariota?
Yeah.
He's just not. He's the same.
He got hurt every season.
He's the same as Tannehill.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's not that much different than Tannehill. A little younger, so not as well. He's not as mature. He throws more interceptions. He's got a little bit more maybe natural athleticism, but he gets hurt all the time. So neither one of them are that great, and they let one guy go. That's barely worse than the other guy you kept, and you paid him a shit ton of money. I'm like, what the fuck? Instead, Mariota goes to the Raiders, and now he's a backup, and he's a great backup. So is Tannehill. Not a great starter. I think it's crazy. Okay. Yeah. Anything more? I mean, I think we beat it to death. I don't think any of us like that deal. I think it's a waste of their time. I don't think they're going to win any Super Bowls with
this. Is such an incredibly stupid subject. I just don't really have anything to say.
I mean, as a
I want to cover the Titans
deal.
in general, but I have to start with that.
He sucks. And they paid him a shit ton of money, and they're going to get what they deserve.
Right? You can say he sucks, but a lot of people would argue that because he had a good season.
Hey, you know what?
No, we needed to talk about Tannehill.
I agree because I think it was in line with a bigger subject of quarterbacks this year and guys like this. And again, I want to talk more than just about this. I want to talk about Tennessee. So I think we beat it enough. We know we don't like Tannehill. I don't think he's going to
beat
the league for the team for multiple years. I don't think they're winning a Super Bowl. Let's ask the question, even before I go into the other guys, because I don't think other than Derrick Henry, nobody else really matters in this that much about whether or not they're going to make the playoffs. But do they make the playoffs? Do they get to the Super Bowl?
Hey, John, let me break in real quick here.
Yep, go ahead.
Yes, we beat a dead horse on Tannehill. You guys know I don't like him. But for anybody out there who's listening to this podcast, please feel free to email us at pigskinpricks.gmail@gmail.com because I want to hear from you. I mean, if you're a Tennessee fan and you think he's good, email us. Man, we'll read your stuff on the show. Give us your number. We'll call. We need to talk to you because he's horrible. So please feel free to email us.
I love the gratuitous advertisement. Thank you, Joe. That was awesome.
Yeah, it is what it is.
See, I think Tennessee does make the playoffs.
Okay. Do they make the Super Bowl?
Do they make the Super
Bowl? Let me go more near. Let's skip that question. Do they beat the Patriots?
Man.
Do they beat the Patriots again this year?
I'm really liking Jared Stidham. And they just, hey, you know who the Patriots signed today? Brian Hoyer.
I saw that. Wow. Yeah, he's a winner. As a matter of fact, speaking of Brian Hoyer, that equals need more beer.
Anyway, so I think you were going to say they beat.
They make the playoffs. Do they beat the Patriots? Nobody beats the Patriots.
Oh.
I won't admit to a Patriots defeat.
Okay. You do realize this is being recorded, so we're going to play it again for you at the end of the season.
That's correct.
Of course, that's fine. That's fine. But I think Tennessee is a 9-7 team, depending on health. If Derrick Henry God forbid, blows out his knee, they're 5-11.
Oh yeah, well that could go for any team. Mahomes could blow his knee good this time, and that Kansas City is going to have.
Well, with a running back, it's Derrick Henry has not always been he's had injury issues in the past.
Right.
So
for sure.
Yeah, but you could argue that that's not necessarily the team. Again, if Tannehill's so goddamn good, which he's not, you could say, well, look at Kansas City. They had a kind of a quarterback by committee or running back by committee this last year, and they won the fucking Super Bowl. So it's not necessarily has to be the running back. They were more important a long time ago, in my opinion.
Well, for Tennessee,
right now, the running back is not the most important person on the team.
That's correct.
On Tennessee, though, it is.
But Evan, I will tell you this much
just right for now. Tennessee.
Not only will Tennessee not make the playoffs, they won't even win their division.
Who's winning their division?
The Colts are going to run away with that division this year.
Phillip
I'm just
Rivers?
telling you. Oh yeah, yeah, because they put a team around him. Their defense is solid. He's got some weapons. I'm just telling you, they're going to take the division. So I think Tannehill, because I think people watch, dude. Now there's a blueprint. They're going to watch the game against Kansas City, and they're going to be like, shit, we're going to stack 11 guys in the box and make him beat us passing. And he can't do it. He proved that. You know that. John knows that. And I certainly know that.
That sounds easier than it's done, though. You
Okay.
say that, but Kansas City, I'm shocked that I get to say this, but Kansas City this last year, what was it, about halfway or a little more through the season? They actually proved they had defensive backs. Like they could cover a couple passes during a game. Not every team can stack 11 men in the box and stop a pass. Yeah. The Chiefs did it well enough.
Yes.
Though they struggled at times, well enough that they won games with a very potent offense, a good enough defensive backfield, and a good, pretty good run stop when they had to. It was weird because some teams that had shittier running games did a better job than Tennessee did.
But that's just it. The Chiefs were horrible against the run, John.
Yes, they were.
They were horrible against the run.
They didn't have to worry about the pass so much because it was Tannehill.
That's my point.
Right. They had decent
exactly
receivers, but not the greatest quarterback.
Yes.
And that was proven.
Yes.
And so I think they can do it. So here's my opinion. So you said no playoffs. What about beating the Patriots if they happen to play them this year? I don't know if they're on regular season.
I don't know if they're on regular season either.
But Joe, if you're wrong in the first one and they make the playoffs and they end up facing the Patriots, because they may never even face them.
They're not they're not beating the Patriots.
Are they going to beat the Patriots?
Never.
Yeah. Okay. So here's my thing.
Answer the question.
No, it's impossible to answer, dickhead, because the fact is we don't know who the quarterback for the freaking Patriots is going to be. If it's Jarrett Stidham, then yes, they will be. They'll beat Jarrett Stidham.
That's all I needed. Just if what you know today.
If it's Jameis Winston, then watch out, because I would say no.
Think about Jameis Winston.
He throws a lot of picks.
All right, so
he got LASIK.
He got LASIK. His eyes are fixed.
His eyes
are fixed.
Hey, that's where the interceptions came from.
Before I answer, I'm going to finish my review of the Titans free agency and just kind of some stats about the team in general. Okay.
Can we hurry this shit up? The Titans are horrible.
This is it, man. Just let me have my piece.
Fair enough.
I barely talked about my own thing here. Right? It's near and dear to my heart.
I can't believe you picked this as your thing.
I live in the state, and it had Tannehill to talk about. So
fair enough.
They picked up a defensive end from Atlanta, Vic Beasley.
Yes.
I didn't know anything about this guy, but it looks like he's okay. So his stats are 42 tackles, 8 sacks. So that's nice. 2 forced fumbles. He's got a 1-year contract at $9.5 million, fully guaranteed.
I believe he came out of Atlanta, did he not?
I said that, but yes, he did.
Yeah, okay.
So for the regular season, he ranked number 47 among linebackers. Even though it says defensive end or he's an edge rusher, and that's clearly what it looks like with all the sacks and tackles, he's number 47. So I pulled it. It's like ridiculous. He was number 31 in pay. With this deal, he's getting number 31 in pay. So it's a little higher than maybe what he was worth last year, but nothing ridiculous in my mind. Okay, so they got a guy, right? And I was going to mention that, by the way, NFL says, what do they need? Still, after what they picked up, they need an edge rusher. So this is one guy. Apparently, they don't have anybody else. They need an offensive lineman, and they need a cornerback. Okay. Who else did they have in free agency, or did they sign? And it was Derrick Henry. This should not be a shocker to anybody. So number one in regular season, number one in postseason. Like I mentioned, he had 303 carries, 1,500 yards, 1,540, a 5.1 carry average. So give him the ball twice, you got a first down, and 16 touchdowns. They put the franchise tag on him, so he's signed. He's not getting away. Should he be disgruntled, Joe, because he's got the franchise tag?
Yeah, John, I'll be honest with you. I think that any guy that gets the franchise tag is pissed because it's unless they know or they're being told, hey, we're putting the tag on you so we can work out a long-term deal. But generally, that's not the case. We're going to tag you so nobody else can get you. And they might go through the season, so they tag him. What if Henry gets hurt? What if he has a shitty season? It affects him. Yeah. Jones is the same way. If he goes through this season, he gets hurt, he has a shitty season. Now the Chiefs can come back and say, well, you're not worth the $20 million you were asking for at the end of last season when you had a stellar season. It's almost as teams, let's tag this guy and hope he doesn't do as well so that we can pay him less. And it's like, this guy earned that money.
Yeah, pay him tag somebody. Who are you supposed to tag? So that's my argument. It's, to me, the team's using a tag on somebody that otherwise is going to really cause them a serious challenge in their cap, right? And so they got to tag somebody. And every team, so just real quickly, Dak Prescott got tagged this year.
Okay.
And that happens all the time, every year, because they got to tag somebody. And they pick a guy that they're maybe still on the fence about because, like you said, Derrick Henry could suck next year. And I would say Chris Jones could have the same problem.
Yes, exactly.
So they're doing that, and they're going, and if nothing else, we're going to make sure that we can afford the rest of the team, and we can see if he continues to perform. With that being said, so Derrick Henry is going to be number 4 on running backs for pay for the year at a little over $10 million. So he's got Ezekiel Elliott, Le'Veon Bell, and David Johnson, believe it or not, are the only guys above him, of which I think none of them deserved the money they made last year compared to Derrick Henry, but one guy could have in Zeke, right? I think he was decent. Le'Veon Bell plays for a shitty team. I mean, he was great with Pittsburgh. They were a good team. He went there and he's okay, but is he worth that fucking money? I don't think so. David Johnson's gone. I mean, he went somewhere else because
he went to Houston,
right? Because they got
for DeAndre Hopkins. Jesus.
I think that was a great move by Arizona. But anyway,
we're not everybody thinks it was a great move by Arizona.
No, I don't think Derrick Henry, from a paycheck perspective, is getting that much disrespected. He's not getting number 1. There's no argument about that.
Well, I don't think he is number 1.
But he should have got more money than Ryan Tannehill.
Wow.
Not because of the position he's not gonna anymore, but like he's more valuable, as we all discussed.
He's more valuable.
You know what? I would also look at it from the front office perspective, in that this last year he had a great season, but the year before he was shit. And so I'm not sure. They're like, well, we don't know what we're going to get. Are we going to get 2018 Derrick Henry, or are we going to get 2019 Derrick Henry?
Yep.
Now, I believe towards the end of the season, and correct me if I'm wrong here, John, I'm sure you've done the analytics on this. Towards the end of 2018, Derrick Henry came on late.
He did.
But I think the majority of the season was shit. And so when you're looking from a front office perspective, you don't really know what you're going to get because he had an off year, then he comes back, he's a beast this year. So do you just say, oh, well, he's going to continue to be a beast, let's pay this guy? No, you tag him, you find out what kind of season, and if he has another stellar season, the salary cap's going to go up. So you might pay him a little bit more, but it's not going to be a whole lot more than what you would have paid him this year. You know, and now you have some consistency. You've had 2 years in a row. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I got to look at something. Yeah, keep talking. I got to check something out real quick.
My question is, with the new collective bargaining agreement, I know the players were talking about potentially wanting to get rid of the franchise tag.
Yes.
Did that happen to go through? The getting rid of the franchise tag? I didn't hear anything about that part of it.
It did not. It did. And as a matter of fact, the contract that they voted on was almost split down the middle.
Yeah.
Like
I remember I did hear that. Yeah.
They missed it by votes. It was that close. And so you've got a lot of disgruntled players.
So I got to say, yep.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. No. Finish what you're saying.
Starting in 2022, starting in 2021, excuse me, we're going to a 17-game season,
right.
and they're changing the playoffs. So now there's only one home field advantage throughout the playoffs. And, well, there always has
only
been.
One bye.
That's correct. There's only one bye. That's what I meant. Thank you, Evan. And so that changes things. I mean, now you don't have another game to rest, and so these guys are like, to hell with this. You know what's going on? So I think things are going to get really interesting from the disgruntled side of things from players. I think you're going to start seeing a lot more holdouts. They're going to want bigger contracts because they're saying, "Hey, you're asking me to play another game."
Right.
But they voted for it. The players actually voted that in.
Yeah, John, but it was 50-50. My point was that at least half are pissed off about it. If you go back and you read through all the tweets, these guys are, I mean, they're livid about this contract. And they're like, how could the other 50% vote yes on this?
Well, a lot of them were saying that they didn't even think people were reading it or paying attention to it.
Right.
Like there's a lot of players who just, who, bottom of the league players who are just looking for a roster spot and they need the league in operation.
Yep.
Like, does this contract benefit the players? Probably not. If there's that many people who are upset about it, I think the people who are going to be most affected by it are the ones who are getting franchise tagged or not.
And I guess what I would say to the players is, you guys, you're getting paid. Yeah. If the league goes out of business, what are you going to do with your life?
Go to the XFL.
Your life is football. Yeah. There is no for a lot of these guys, there is nothing else. So it's like, really, are you going to bitch about making millions of dollars? Okay, so they ask you to play another game. But it's like you guys get paid a ton of money. So really, fans, we don't want to hear your shit. We don't care. You guys, we buy your jerseys, we buy all of that merchandise. And I'm sorry that you don't feel like you get a big enough cut of that. I'm sorry that you feel like the owners are screwing you. But you're still making 10 to 15 to 20 times more than the average American. So I guess what I would say to you is suck it up, man. Go out and play some football. Go do the thing that you love. And just shut up and play ball. Right?
I agree with that. They make so much money.
There's going to be a lot of people that won't. And I hope I hear from you at pigskinpricks@gmail.com.
Shameless plug.
Yeah, why not?
Chris Jones, what's his position?
He is, he's defensive end, but he's also been listed as a defensive tackle.
I was going to say, I would say tackle.
I'm trying to find
because he plays inside. So, yes, I would say DT.
All right.
But he has been listed as a defensive end as well.
Defensive tackles, they make like defensive tackle, defensive end. They make out of all defensive players probably the most.
Yeah, for sure.
They've got the biggest contracts.
And
Clowney's going to be the top defensive player paid of all time, whatever he signs for.
Yeah, so I found him. They call him a 4-3 defensive tackle. He is
tackle. Yeah,
on that list. He is the 5th highest paid guy. So what got me, and I know you're a Chiefs fan, so this is why it's interesting. So we were comparing a little bit of Derrick Henry to Chris Jones, and you said some things that I would have thought would apply also to Chris Jones that you only applied to Derrick Henry. So Chris Jones, I just went to NFL.com, looked at stats for the regular season. Chris Jones did not show up on the top 5. I didn't even go any deeper because that's what I wanted to see was just the top 5
right.
of any of those stats. But he's in the top 5 getting paid. Derrick Henry is the number 1 player, but he's 4th best paid. So, and you're going, Derrick deserves to be tagged, but Chris Jones doesn't. And I just think that's a conflict.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But let me go one step further, and I'll try to make this as quick as I can. Derrick Henry has had one good season. Chris Jones has been a beast for multiple seasons. So he's had a few injuries. He's missed a couple games. But for the most part, he's been healthy, and he's been just an absolute beast the whole time he's been in the league. You can't say that for Derrick Henry. So, yes, he had a stellar season. He's number one in 2019. But I want you to look deeper, John, and look what his numbers were before, because I think you'll find that the reason they're not paying him that is because you can't base that off of one season. So that's my explanation to that. That's what I think it is. Again, I'm a bit of a homer. I'm a diehard Chiefs fan, so I'll defend that. But I honestly believe that if we were talking about somebody that played for New England or whatnot, it would be the same way.
Right. So actually, Chris Jones, I won't argue, had 2 good seasons in a row. I actually think he had a better year previous year than
previous. Well, he was hurt a few games this year.
Right.
Yes.
And also people paid more attention to him, I think, this year because he had such a good season the year before.
Absolutely.
So I pulled up Derrick Henry stats because I had to, right? He only started 12 games last year, but he did have 16 games. So apparently he was healthy. So again, just to recap, just this previous season, 303 attempts, 1,500 yards, average of 5.1. The previous season, he had 215 attempts, 1,059 yards, 4.9 average.
Right.
So not much different. So he had 16 TDs this year, last year 12. So I'd say arguably a pretty good damn season. He just didn't get the ball as much, like not even close, almost 90 times less at almost a 5-yard average. Mm-hmm. So what's that? Almost 500 yards, right? 40. Right. So he easily could have had the same kind of numbers in 2018 as he did in 2019 if he'd have got the ball. And I'd say who had a bigger actual impact to the success of the team, Chris Jones or Derrick Henry?
Without Derrick Henry, the Titans don't even make the playoffs.
I agree. That's my opinion. I think Chris Jones is very important, but I don't think he could have prevented. Without him, could the Chiefs have made at least the playoffs, if not maybe won the Super Bowl?
I'll give you that. Yeah. I think we make the playoffs. Well, I don't believe we go to the Super Bowl, and we certainly don't win the Super Bowl without him. So, but I'd be interesting to see the stats for the Chiefs defense on the games that Chris Jones was out.
Sure, right. We'll have to
because I think you'll.
That's your next homework assignment, Joe.
Right,
I want you to dig deeper.
Right. You know how I do on homework. Homework sucks. and any
you
fan
will tell you. You're close.
I'm a KC homer. I'm not a KC. Yeah. Homeworker and homer are two totally different things.
I'm going to recap 2 other things real quick. So we've talked about 3 of the guys, right? The last one that they signed, and this one to me is a joke. I mean, I get it. So they signed an existing guy, Dennis Kelly, offensive tackle.
Yes.
He's 3 years, 21 mil. Okay, great. And one of their needs was offensive tackle. Well, they let go of the other guy, and this had to be salary cap, right? So they let go of
Conklin.
Conklin. Conklin to the Browns. So Conklin was ranked, or was on the free agent list of the top 101, again by NFL, not my ranking. He was number 9, the number 9 best free agency pickup.
Yeah.
And Tennessee lets him go, right? And they sign a guy that basically looks like he was his backup because he's cheaper, right? In fact, so I pulled just guys. So of people just for Tennessee that were linemen that got paid, so we got Taylor Lewan. He was number 4 overall in the league.
Yep.
Jack Conklin now is number 12. So he would have been number 2 probably if we would have kept him. Then they got Roger Salford. He's number 33. And then they got Ben Jones. I don't know where he fits in, but he's making more over this year. He actually has a lower contract slightly, but more this coming year than Dennis Kelly. So if they would have kept Conklin, he'd be number 5. He's number 4 right now. So they kept a guy that, I don't know. To me, it's like, are you going to go pick up another lineman? Because this guy is clearly not the best. Or we see something. Maybe
he's something they draft.
Or they see something in that guy that he just is coming along. I didn't look into his depth. So my goal here, by the way, guys, just to tell you what I was after is I was looking for value, right? What are you paying a guy versus what did they do for you last year, and also compared to other folks? Are you getting a good deal in that guy? That was my criteria. That's why I actually didn't dig deeper than this past year. I'm thinking if I have some numbers, I look at a guy, I compare him to other guys in the league. What do I think he's worth, and what am I going to pay him? In his value. And so,
yeah, John, but it's not always about numbers. I think you can't just.
I agree.
You can't just look at the numbers because listen, Chris Jones, and I'll use him as an example, they don't win the championship without him. I'm just telling you, I know Patrick Mahomes is a star, and he takes them to the playoffs. They don't go anywhere in the playoffs without him.
So the beauty is none of us can prove that because he was there. They did win, right? And
yes.
And unless he wasn't there, you can't prove that. Just like
yes, John, but if you're a football fan and you've actually watched the games, especially the playoff games as well as the Super Bowl, you would know.
Look at the plays he makes.
That's exactly right.
He had great plays. I don't discount that, but I also saw Mahomes have very good plays, also some bad ones.
Yes.
If we didn't have Tyreek Hill, if we didn't have Kelsey, if we didn't have Watkins,
right, and I'm not.
There's so many people that were so key that I can't say any one guy.
But I'm not
saying
the game
to
that
a winner.
Jones. Oh, there's no doubt. If you don't have Mahomes, you don't win the Super Bowl, John.
Okay, but you keep saying Chris Jones, so
because that's who we're talking about.
So if you didn't have Tyreek Hill, did you win? You didn't have Kelsey. Did you win?
Yes.
I think you can say that about any guy out there except for Patrick Mahomes. That's the only guy I think you can say without that guy, you weren't going to win.
So what?
Right?
Anybody
else, it's a maybe.
I think Chris Jones is as important on defense as Patrick Mahomes is on offense.
It's very clear that I disagree with you.
Because Patrick Mahomes is so good, John, that he could throw to a Denard Robinson. He could throw to a McCole Hardman. I don't believe we need Tyreek Hill. I don't believe now. I will say Travis Kelce is very important, but they're not Chris Jones. Tyreek Hill is not Chris Jones. Chris Jones is important on defense as Mahomes is on offense.
What do you think about Frank Clark? Real quick, just tell me what you think about Frank Clark.
I would keep Chris Jones before I would let Frank Clark go before Chris Jones. 100%. I like him. I think he's a good player. I knew him when I lived in Seattle. So I'm familiar with his play. I was happy to see him come in. But if it's between him or Chris Jones, you got to keep Chris Jones.
All right. So Frank had more tackles.
Yes.
He had more sacks.
Yes.
Actually, but you could argue that's because they double teamed.
He was double teamed because he was getting double teamed. That's exactly right.
I was looking at
on almost every play. If you watch the Chiefs, you would know on every play they double teamed him because they had to. And and how many sacks did he have? Being double teamed. I mean, I would put Chris Jones in the same ballpark as Aaron Donald.
I would agree with that.
I wouldn't say that he's better, but he's definitely in the same ballpark. Wow. So yes, he's a game changer.
I'm impressed he said that. I think Aaron Donald's better by far.
Well, I did say that, but I do think that he's in the same ballpark as Aaron Donald.
Okay, cool.
So
I would put Aaron Donald 1, Chris Jones 2.
You're right. That's exactly.
That's right. Honestly, I would probably do that.
Yeah. And even though he's old, you got to put the Ndamukong Suh up there.
Oh, please!
I knew, right? Hey, listen. You know what? The Bucs may get him.
He's a journeyman at this point.
I know he is.
So
but
I misspoke because I was looking at postseason numbers, and Frank Clark had better numbers in the postseason, which I think is interesting because you talk about the playoffs. Actually, in regular season, Chris Jones had 9 sacks. Frank Clark had 8. When I looked at tackles, neither one of those guys were showing up anywhere in the top, like 150. So,
but I guess the point that I would make on that, John, is the reason Frank Clark is able to do what he does is because Chris Jones draws so much attention.
Yeah, and you could have argued the same thing the previous year when Chris Jones wasn't as well known and had such a good year. Because who the hell did we let go to San Francisco that was good on the other side? D Ford.
Yeah.
Right.
We had Justin Houston on the other side.
And Justin Houston, and we let both those guys go.
That's correct.
And so the guy that we had left that anybody paid attention to was Chris Jones.
That's correct.
Right. And Frank Clark had a good year because of that.
Well, and they knew Frank Clark coming in. I mean, he was known. I mean, he was a stud in Seattle that when we signed him, they were like, okay, I mean, we knew what we were getting with him. But again, it's the inside guys that allow the edge rushers to do what they do. Aaron Donald, they have to double team him every play.
Right.
So the linebackers on the Rams, it's like a free lunch, man. These guys, Jesus, thanks, Aaron. We appreciate you taking up 3 guys because now our job's really freaking easy. Chris Jones, he's not to that level, but he's really close to that level. And so there we are. Now, you want to talk about beating a dead horse? We have beat a dead horse. Let's move on from Chris Jones. He's not going to let this go, Evan. I'm telling you, he's going to keep dragging it out. But I'm telling you,
I got one last thing, and it's totally different. And then I'm done, guys. We can finish up or call it. So there's one other hasn't been done yet. There's one other Titans free agent, Logan Ryan, that they have not signed yet. So let me give you a stat. I just want I want your opinions because I'm going to show you a stat. So he's number 35 on the 101 free agents as far as value or whatever they want to call it.
Yeah.
So he was ranked number 5 cornerback of the regular season, number 1 postseason. So he had a great postseason. I looked at some different stats. He was number 22 in tackles last year. He was number 84 in sacks and number 11 in interceptions. So overall, would you sign him again? If you were if you were the Titans, would you say, no matter what, we're going to sign you? No matter what.
Speaking from experience, as him on the Patriots, he was always a stud on the Patriots.
Yeah.
So he was always the second corner. Like, I believe he was on the team when we had, like, I want to say Revis was on the team at the same time. But Logan Ryan was always that reliable second corner. Yeah. And he kind of went and filled the same role in Tennessee.
Right.
And once again, in the big games, he shows up. He makes plays. You can, if you need an interception, a lot of times Logan Ryan can make a play.
Yeah.
Right. So here's your value.
And he's not I don't feel like he's commanding a ton of money.
Right. Here's your value.
I'm surprised he hasn't gone anywhere else.
Like I said, the numbers are number 5 overall in regular season, number 1 as far as NFL ranking, not in any individual stat. Number 5 and number 1 in postseason. He is the 18th highest paid cornerback. And there's another Tennessee Titan that's way higher than him. Malcolm Butler, was that it?
Malcolm Butler, yeah.
Yep.
He is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 notches higher. He's not making a ton more a year, a couple mil, but his contract's twice that of Logan Ryan's because, of course, this is expiring. So I was a little shocked. When I started digging into him and looking at his numbers, I'm like, why haven't they signed him already? What the fuck? Everybody else is just there's some guys out there that did something and looking at, but nobody else is really that exciting. And I was like, that's one pick I'm shocked about. I think 10 minutes left, guys.
I think his veteran presence is a big deal. Yeah. I mean, he's played on championship teams, right? And that's
invaluable for those teams.
Yeah, and that's invaluable. I mean, that guy. So even if you draft a guy, right, sign Logan Ryan because this guy's a great teacher, if for nothing else, right? So bring this guy in. I mean, like I said, he's got the knowledge. You play for Bill Belichick. You know what the hell you're doing.
I'd love to have him back on the Patriots.
Oh, hell yeah. And like I said earlier, I'm shocked that he hasn't been signed. I mean, he's out there. I'd love for the Chiefs. Hey, go get him.
He'll come cheap. He's not
that's what I mean.
That's what I say. He does his value seems really high.
He's probably a mid-range cost.
Number 5 and getting 18th highest pay. Yeah. I mean, he's getting paid a fair amount, but
he's always flown under the radar. He's always flown under the radar.
I knew his name, but I didn't know how good he was. When I saw he wasn't signed yet, I'm like, he must not be that good.
No, even in New England,
his stats, and I'm like,
good. Even in New England, he was always really under the radar, like a really big piece defensively.
Yep.
So last thing about the Titans, what do you guys think of the job Vrabel's doing?
I like Vrabel. I'm a New England homer, so.
Well, yeah,
he brought Ryan Tannehill to the AFC Championship game. I'd say he's doing a pretty good job.
He beat Bill Belichick and Tom Brady.
I'll give him credit.
He beat Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. I like Vrabel, even though I hate the fucking Patriots. I've liked Vrabel for a long time.
Vrabel came and played in Kansas City. Yep. He left the Patriots and came and was a linebacker for us. So
I remember.
Yeah. So we do trade, wasn't
he? Yeah. So we know Vrabel, right? And so we respect him. I like the guy as a coach. I don't like the Tennessee Titans.
That's not what I asked. I said, what do you think about the job Vrabel?
I really don't give a shit. I think he's doing a great job. I don't like who he's coaching for. So, that it is what it is. I think he's doing a decent job. Do I think he's going to win a Super Bowl with this team? No, I don't. And it's not because I don't like the team. I just don't like the players on the team well enough to think that they could take him to a Super Bowl. Yes, he went to the AFC Championship game, but his running back had to play out of his ass. This guy had a season that was from the gods. right? That won't happen again, right? It's kind of like that. When people figure you out and they figure your running style, there's a lot of tape on him now, John.
Unless you're a elite, how do we know this guy isn't? How do we know he's not going to run all over the league for the next 4 years?
I don't know that
there are running backs that do that.
He's only got better in the last 2 years.
Is it possible?
It is possible.
Of course,
for as big as he is, he ran 99 yards in 2018, and we all seen the clip.
Well,
and he did some really long runs this last year, being as big as he and run people over and just kept going.
I honestly believe that teams will stack the box and force Tannehill to beat them. And I think Tannehill will win some games, but I think he's going to lose some games too. So
what's their record?
So what I was going to say, they're going to make the playoffs.
Okay.
I think they're a 10-6 team this coming year. They're going to make the playoffs.
Right.
They're going to lose the playoffs in the first round.
Okay.
Okay.
I like that. 9-7 or 10-6. I would agree with that.
Okay. I'm 7-9. And they miss the playoffs.
Right. Cool.
Yeah.
So
we'll see.